Toss to White. He's in! Patriots win the Super Bowl!
Welcome to Patriots Touchback Podcast.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to another edition here of the Patriots Touchback Podcast. It is Season 2, Episode 29. First things first, Merry Christmas to everyone. It's the 23rd of December. This is our little Christmas show. I've got Nick with me, my compatriot elf. Unfortunately, you are not the size of an elf. So,
I don't know whether to be offended or not by that. I look like an elf if I'm Will Ferrell in an elf environment. You know, that's how much of an elf I am. Yes, I'm certainly not elf-like. We'll put it that way.
Absolutely not, but it's good to have you on, mate. We've got a few absentees tonight, but that's because it's Christmas, so we can let them off. Thank you, everyone that's watching. Thank you, everyone. Welcome all to joining. It's a bit of a how would you describe it? It's still a loss as we expected, but the result certainly wasn't something we thought about. The New England Patriots losing 24-21 to the Buffalo Bills in probably our most highly competitive game that we've had all season, and probably a game that maybe a lot of nerds have been turning around and saying that maybe we should have nicked it. We don't know. We'll dissect as this game goes along. Before we start, make sure you smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, tell all your friends, follow us on all our social media platforms, follow the podcast on Spotify and on the Sports Social Network as well. And remember, guys, get us to 50 subscribers, and we do have a giveaway for some new merch on the way. So please hit that subscribe button. You're doing us a disservice. Anyway, let's get going. The New England Patriots losing 21-24 to the Buffalo Bills. There's us last week saying that we're going to get absolutely slapped, saying that, it's going to be 51-14 and 48-10 and all this, that, and the other. And the Patriots come away with, I've got more good, positive outlook than I have any negative ones. Okay, there are some things we will dive into, but I think the first port of call about this is when you saw the first kickoff, the actual kickoff of the game, we took the return. We took it into our own 45-yard line. I'm like, that's something we don't do very often. Usually we're down at our own 20, 25 and not going anywhere. And I'm like, is this maybe something to come? And lo and behold, the Patriots on the first drive march all the way down the field, and Drake Maye played absolutely fantastic, gets down and throws a nice 23-yard shot to the corner of the end zone for Boutte to get hold of, and he brings it down and stuns the whole of Highmark Stadium into complete silence, thinking, what the hell's going on here? This shouldn't be happening. What was your first thoughts on that first drive?
Yeah, I mean, the catch from Boutte was, great, brilliant, but it could quite have easily have gone the other way. It was one of those that, Drake Maye threw it up, and fair enough for Boutte to go and get it, But from what we've seen this year, he could quite easily have dropped it or not caught it in the first place. So I think the start, while I will give the Patriots credit because they deserve it, I do think it falls to say that Buffalo started slowly. They didn't come out of the traps quick enough. Now, whether their attitude was, oh, we've got this one, we don't need to worry, it's just the pay. Whether that was their attitude, if that was the case, that's fine, fair enough. It's up to them. That's their department. But it was almost, I don't want to say too easy, but I think it was easier than it should have been. So yeah, I mean, we came out the blocks, like a house on fire, and that was impressive. I mean, the whole game was impressive in the sense that, like we said, we expected we were going to get battered and we didn't. But it was a game of two halves. We had a great first half and a poor second half. So, you know, yeah, it's if this was sort of like mid-season, and you look at what we did early on, you could maybe say we're turning a corner and starting to trend in the right direction. But it's a little too late. And a performance like that against Buffalo, yes, gets you a 24-21 loss. You know, had we performed like that at, say, Wembley against the Jags when we were there, we'd have probably won that game. And you know, so I think you can go and play Buffalo and play like that, and sort of walk out the stadium with your head held high, but ultimately you've got nothing for it.
No, but there is, you know, we've been screaming about, we know we're going to lose a lot of games this season. We just want to try and get this team to, you know, play competitive. This is what we were screaming for. That first half was what we've been screaming for 15 weeks straight. And we finally got it. It might be too little too late now, but they, they finally managed to get something done. So on the touchdown by Butte, the Patriots played it was 3rd and 4. They played in a 3-by-1 formation. The receivers were condensed to Maye's left-hand side. Butte was the Pats' lone receiver. He was 1-on-1 with Bill's corner, Keir Allen, because obviously Rashawn Douglas was obviously inactive. He wasn't available. Maye didn't shy away, saw the matchup, and he threw the go ball to Butte, and he hit it perfectly on a dime. Also, as well, big shout out to Antonio Gibson, because he picked up a couple of excellent blitz pickups, not once, but quite a few times during that game as well. So it set the tone already for what New England wanted to do. And pretty soon on the next drive, on the second drive, they went over and scored, went down the end and scored another touchdown, 14-0 at the end of the first quarter. It was like, what the hell are we even watching here? This is something we've never seen all season.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic start. You can't, you know, I'm not sitting here knocking that. You know, it was a season high of 28 first downs in a game. We haven't had that since 2022. Now, it bothers me that it's taken till, you know, week 16 for it to get like that, but you know, we're at least there. You know, we said off in the green room before we started about, you know, how much Drake Maye's production was better than Josh Allen's. You know, and I didn't say at the time, but I already had the stat. You know, the expected points per attempt, the EPA at half time, Drake Maye was on 0.35 and Josh Allen was on minus 0.06. You know, and if you're going to go into Buffalo and you're gonna play well, great, but play well for the entire game. I did wonder whether we emptied the playbook too early. You know, you come out the gates, boom, one score, boom, another score. Right, where are we going now? I don't know. I haven't got any more plays in my playbook that match that. You know, so it was like a great start, and we've watched some dross this year. So I'm not going to sit here and say it wasn't good enough, because you know it was a massive improvement on what we have been watching. But it needs to be far more consistent, and it needs to be for an entire game, because there were definitely some issues that, you know, came back to haunt us again. Run defense can't defend. So,
yeah, that big 50-yard run by James Cook really did hurt us. Once again, Karl Duggar can't make a tackle to save his life. I don't know what's happened to Duggar recently, but that was not a good look for him. Overall, James Cook had 11 carries for 100 yards. Basically, he's averaging over 10 yards a carry. That is absolutely criminal. You can't allow a running back to do that. This ain't the NCAA. You can't allow a running back to do that.
Well, Buffalo ran for 172 yards on 28 attempts.
Yeah, and the other lot of that was Josh Allen, wasn't it?
And then, shock horror, there were mistakes that cost us, fumbles and, interceptions. And it's just, I think you take, like, for example, that Stevenson fumble, that went the other way for some points pretty quickly. Without
field goal.
Yeah, without that, you take that off the board, and we've got a chance. So,
you also got the miscommunication on the sideway pass. But I still can't get my head around whose fault that is. There's three parts of that. One, I don't think Drake Maye should have thrown it. That's a rookie mistake by him. I'm actually going to come to the defense of Rhemondre Stevenson here. I don't think he's expecting that ball to come at him that quickly. I think he was meant to go a bit more deeper, a bit more outside, so we can actually get the ball and cut the angle. The problem was, though, we've had issues with his offensive line all season long. Demontre Jacobs tried a chip block and he got completely blown up, and that was an accident waiting to happen. There were three parts of that. Part of that was Drake's fault. Part of that was Jacobs' fault as well. And Stevenson, he might have been able to catch it, but he he didn't get wide enough in order to receive the ball. What Drake should have done is just thrown the ball at his feet and just freaking called another down. I
mean, I had a note here that I wrote down, which was that, that's Stevenson's 7th fumble of the season. For a man who's known for his ball security, coming up under Belichick, and that was one thing that Belichick absolutely, ground into every single player: ball security, protect the ball. 7 fumbles in effectively, 15 games. You're nearly on a fumble every other game. But it's not just him. Ball security from multiple players across the roster hasn't been good enough this season. Now, I realise it's Gerard Mayer and it's not Bill Belichick anymore, but surely the things that Bill Belichick has taught over the years regarding ball security, surely they still exist within the system today. You protect the ball. So I don't think, not just Stevenson, I'm not going to sit here and slag him off as the only one, but ball security for multiple players this season hasn't been good enough.
No, it hasn't. Rhemondre, that's his 7th fumble now. It's his 3rd one that he's lost this season. It's the most fumbles out of any player in the NFL. And now we're going to have to call it into question why he keeps on doing this. It's becoming an issue, becoming a problem, and it's costing us points. Do you know how many points we had in turnover differential?
No,
13. 13 points. You take away those turnovers, New England actually win this game comfortably.
Yeah,
because the Bills weren't getting anywhere near us. Okay, they were running the ball down our throat and we couldn't stop them. But regarding of what I was looking for, what I want to see from a coaching perspective was how you're going to control Josh Allen. And the best thing you could do with Josh Allen, keep him in the pocket, set the edge, don't let him outside, don't let him run. He rushed for 30 yards. Keep him on the sidelines, as he said as Gerard said at the end of the first quarter. He said, keep Josh Allen on that bench as much as you can. And for that first half, they did. I think the time of allowance was New England had about 10 minutes. 10 minutes of ball time in the first quarter. They literally had Josh Allen just sitting there freezing his nuts off in the cold in Buffalo. But there are some good things about this game as well. And the one thing I'll bring up is this, okay? we have had really, really bad issues when it comes to converting on 3rd and 4th down. We haven't been very good at it, have we?
Mm-hmm.
So in this game, 3rd down efficiency, the Patriots were 7 of 12, and in 4th down efficiency was 2 and 2. One of them, good, nice call there by Gerard Maye. I wasn't expecting that to come out of him, but they went a 4th and 1, and they ended up running a fake punt. And I was like, oh, okay, this is new.
So my question for you, because this popped up on my Twitter feed today. When was the last time the Patriots had a successful fake punt?
3-4 years ago?
Nope, 2017 against Miami in November.
Jeez.
We haven't had a successful fake punt since 2017 before yesterday. So, I guess give like you said, you weren't expecting it. Give Mayo his credit there. And the other thing is, we are the first team this season to restrict Buffalo at home to less than 30 points.
Yeah. We've got one of the worst defenses in the league, so it's kind of this is one of those helter-skelter games where it's like you don't know what it's a pick and mix bag. It's like, what's going on here? We don't know what this team is.
They were on an 8-game streak of at least 30 points in a game.
Yeah,
and it got ended by the New England Patriots, who can't defend for toffee.
One of our corners can, and that's Christian Gonzalez again. Another shutdown, lockdown, excellent performance by him. I think he was on Amari Cooper pretty much all game. I think he had one catch for 10 yards. The rest of the time, just blanketed everybody. Christian Gonzalez, if he's not an all-pro at the end of the season, I'm going to break someone's neck. I will break someone's neck because Gonzalez has been playing unbelievably well. He should be in the Pro Bowl as well.
I would say breaking necks is quite excessive. Maybe come a step down from breaking necks. Break an arm or something. Let's stay away from paralysis.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
And the other one as well. Okay, were penalties. We've had issues with penalties all season long. 5 penalties for 34 yards. I can't remember when the last time we had that low amount of penalties, but that was so much better. The Bills had 13 penalties for 78 yards. But it was the turnovers that it was because they had 2 encroachment penalties. They had an offside penalty. They had a couple of pass interference calls as well. This was very, very unlike Buffalo. And if you're, say, Kansas City, Baltimore, Houston, any of the playoff teams in question, you're looking at this team going, you could put 30 points on a lot of good teams there. You put 40 on Detroit, yet you squeak past the Patriots. Yeah, like I said, that doesn't make no sense.
I wonder whether they came into that game thinking they already had it won. They just had to turn up. I think, they probably got a scare, and at halftime, they probably got read the riot act.
They probably got the rocket launcher shoved up them by Sean McDermott.
But talking about Gonzalez, and I fully agree with you. Mm-hmm. Somebody who I was impressed with last night, let's say, was Mate Mapu. That's second career interception, and he played well. And he's one of those players, he sits on the fence for me. I can't decide whether he's got a future or not. He might have a future in the game, but has he got a future at the Patriots? Because yes, he was playing safety, and but it's like he's not your first choice safety. So he's gonna be what, second or third line, but is he good enough? Can he hold his own? When you're looking here and you're looking at how many holes we've got on the roster and how many players we need to jettison out and how many positions we need to fill coming in, the more players you've got that can actually do the job, the better. And he's just one of those. He sits on the fence. I can't decide whether he's good enough or not.
So Andrew Callahan tweeted this, okay? Marty Mapu was a healthy scrap for the past 2 games. In this game, had 3 tackles, interception, forced fumble, a hurry, and a pass breakup.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Marty Mapu, I think he has got. I think he is a decent player for us. Is he a squad depth player? I think he's a squad depth player for us. Is he a starter? Probably not. But I'd probably say he is a squad depth player. I would keep Mapu because as long as he doesn't. Okay, he got the interception, which was brilliant, fantastic.
Yeah.
What he did next, I don't know what's going through. I don't know what's going through his head. Just take a knee in the end zone and you're 25. You ran out and then stopped at the flipping 1. You put Drake Maye behind the 8 ball immediately, and we were very fortunate to come out. I think we got to like the 30-yard line before we eventually then had to punt it, I think it was.
Is that inexperience, though? It's
the inexperience, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope it's inexperience and not complete idiocy, because that was yeah.
Talking of complete idiocy,
we talk about the offensive line again.
Your veteran Lowe had a half decent game. You know, your mate Lowe and Robinson. You know, they had half decent games. Talking of idiots,
did Robinson have their best game? Because the right tackle.
I didn't say he had his best game. I said he had a half decent game compared to what he's been putting out there. Half decent is a significant improvement on what we've been watching. So it was nice to see Cole Strange back as well. I know that he didn't start and he didn't come on till, you know, towards the end of, was it the first quarter or the first half? I can't remember. But you know, it was nice to see him come back from injury. And unfortunately, I think he's so injury prone that when his contract runs out at the end of next year, I don't think he'll get a new one. I think he'll just be see you later.
Yeah, I think so too.
But you don't want to see a guy just stuck on the treatment table for his entire career. So it was nice to see him. Excuse me. It was nice to see him come out and finally play, you know, and put some tape down, if you like.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so, but the line was okay, I'd probably say, but the amount of times that the Bills just blitzed us was quite worrying. Because whenever they were blitzing us, they was getting through. Continuously getting through. Even when we played a 7-man personnel at one point. I can't remember when it was, and they still got blown up. It's worrying, this offensive line is. And as much as you could say Vidarian Lowe had a half-decent game, he might not be the one to have the sack, because I think Drake Maye got sacked twice in that game. We only managed to get 1 sack on Josh Allen all game, unfortunately. So, not the greatest of things. Let's go into receiving coach. Do you know what? Keishon Butte, 5 receptions, 95 yards and a tutty. That's his best game. That's his best game he's had. That was a great performance from Keishon Butte. He is a wide receiver 3/4. I don't think he's going to be 1 or 2. By the time we end up probably getting up T. Higgins and probably taking Travis Hunter or Tech McMillan, maybe, we're kind of looking at him as a 3 or a 4. But there was some also Austin Hooper, another good game as well, 4 for 55. Hunter Henry, 4 for 39. Early in that first quarter, you saw Drake Maye going to Hunter Henry pretty much all the time. That seems to be his safety blanket pretty much most of this season. It's been Kendrick Bourne, 2 of 18. Demario Douglas, 4 of 33. Rhemondre Stevenson, 1 of 13. Tony Gibson, 2 of 8. Javon Baker had 8 snaps in this game, so it was good. So he was slowly getting his snaps up. But Jalen Polk only managed 3. Only managed 3 snaps.
I think the Hunter Henry thing is like you say, it's a comfort blanket thing. I think the other thing is he's our best receiver, and I get that he's a tight end, but you know he's not a blocking tight end, is he? He's a receiving tight end. I think he's been the most consistent this year. He's been the guy that Drake Maye has felt most comfortable with because he's the guy that's been able to actually do the job that he's being asked to do. No, I can't think of another Patriots wide receiver or tight end that you can say, you know what, he's contributed this year. He's done a job. Because they've all been well below par. And you know what I will do? While we're talking about giving people credit, I will give the Las Vegas Raiders credit. Well done on blowing up your tank. Thank you for spot number 2. The fact that they dropped from 2 to 6.
No. You don't thank the Raiders. You thank Mac Jones. You thank Mac Jones.
Yeah,
you thank Mac Jones for that. It's all about the greater good, as they say in Hot Fuzz. And Mac Jones, you've done the greater good there. So thank you very much, boy. You're still shit, but thank you anyway.
They didn't drop from 2 to 6. Sorry, they dropped from 1 to 6, right? Mm-hmm. And in the same process, everyone moved up one. And the Jacksonville Jaguars must have been laughing their heads off as well.
Well, yes and no. Well, yes and no, because they're still they don't need a quarterback. They still need a talent on the players. But New England are now in the driver's seat on where they are. With the second overall pick, we don't need a quarterback. And now we can demand a fair lot more for someone. Oh, you want to come and get Cam Ward, do you? Okay, well, it's going to cost you.
The problem is, well, I wasn't going to go into this, but it's actually, it's not that. We actually find ourselves right now in a bit of no man's land because... Yes, we have the second pick, but Jacksonville Jaguars have the third. They don't need a quarterback. Cleveland have the 5th. Now they've got Watson and they can't afford really so they're going to have to find somebody. But Tennessee are at 4. So a team coming up doesn't actually need to come up to 2. They could come up to 3 and still get what they wanted. So it's a case of, we're at 2, but, we're at 2, and some teams can probably come to 3, knowing we don't want to keep. So we've put ourselves in a little bit of no man's land in that people may not need to come as high as 2 to get what they want anyway. So it's just one of those. I'm a little bit sort of,
But remember, there's going to be at least one team that's going to get desperate. There's always one team that's going to get desperate. And it wouldn't surprise me if it's Cleveland.
Well, yeah.
Since they love trading their first round pick and they love trading up and making a fucking fool of themselves, but that's besides the point. But no, overall, the performance of the game, okay, it's a loss. We were expecting a loss. But there was a great individual as well. One other point as well. Zone QB runs. We finally drew up some QB runs. 4 of them, in fact. And Drake Maye got absolutely unleashed. This is what he was good for when he was in NC. This is what he was so good for. And I know the coaches have been they've tried to wrap him up in cotton wool. They don't want to get him injured and so on. But at some point now, you said this last week after the Arizona game, it's time to showcase this kid. Let's see what you do. Take the wheels off, take the stabilizers off him, let him go. Let's see what he has got. And what you saw in that Buffalo game was what he is capable of. Okay, he keeps throwing an interception every game. He's a rookie. You can probably just let that slide, right? But what you saw from his maturity, his footwork, his pocket presence, his distribution of the ball, it's really, really good. I'm not saying it's elite, but I'm saying it's really good. And we've got such a promising young guy. It becomes so paramount now. You fit talent all around him now.
I mean, the kind of guy that was saying don't draft him. I mean, what kind of idiot would say that?
It would be you, actually. It would be you.
No.
It would be you.
But he's he's showing such leadership, such maturity as well. You
He
know,
is.
he's you can't sit here. You know, nobody can sit there and say he's not doing his bit. He's not trying. He's playing in. He's like every other great quarterback that goes into a bad team. He's just not got enough around him. He can't do it. Oh, we said the other week he can't block and receive the ball and throw it and run down the pitch and catch it, and he can't do everything, so he needs help, and unfortunately he hasn't got enough.
No, he hasn't got enough, but he spoke about how much he's enjoying. He spoke on the podium how much he's enjoying playing for the Patriots, how he respects Maye and Alex Van Pelt as well. I tell you what, Alex Van Pelt deserves a bit of credit as well, because even though some of the plays were still a little bit iffy, I think for most of that game, he actually called quite a solid game. I think he hasn't got much stock. Let's be real. Alex Van Pelt hasn't got much stock right now, but I do think that stock has risen just a little bit. Would that be beneficial? Because if that was against, say, Jacksonville or the Bears or anybody like that, you probably think, oh, maybe not. But since it was Buffalo and you kept it very, very close, and you lost because you had too many turnovers. If you played, when you play the likes of the Kansas City, the Buffalo, the Baltimores, and all that lot, you have to play pretty much a clean, perfect game against them. And that's where the Patriots fall out of that tier, because we keep turning the ball over, keep shooting ourselves in the foot. That is also still down to coaching. I'm still not going to let Gerard Mayo and everybody else off the hook for what's happened for this season. But compared to what I saw for this game, it was encouraging, very encouraging. All I want to see now for the final two games, at home to the Chargers and then at home to the Bills next week, keep it this sort of scoreline. If you lose 24-27 or 30-27 or 24-21, and you keep it within like a field goal or something, that's being competitive. I could probably stomach that. What I don't want to see now in this game coming up on Saturday against the Chargers and then next Sunday against the Bills is us getting our back doors blown out at home. Because then everything I've just said now is just waffle.
Yeah, to play like that in Buffalo, to have them then come to your place and absolutely spank you, it's you're making no progress at all.
No.
You've shown what you can do. Right, go and be competitive against the Chargers. We don't expect. We said last week. You've got. Or the week before, you had Arizona, you had the Chargers, and you had Buffalo twice. And we talked about the tank, and we said about embrace the tank. And we said, it's not tanking because you expect to lose those 4 games anyway. But we went into this game thinking we were going to get battered. We didn't. Great, brilliant. We can all see the positives. Let's push on and let's move on from there. Let's give the Chargers a competitive game. I don't expect to win the game. I don't expect us to, lose by a walk-off field goal. I want us to be competitive. We were competitive for one half of a game. Let's try and be competitive for 3 quarters. Let's move, small baby steps. Let's try and trend in the right direction. And, is it too much to ask to just, a little bit of positivity, a little bit of hope?
Well, we can get asked for a little bit of hope. We can do it, but it's just down to the team and the coaching at the end of the day. As we move into this coming Saturday, it's a Saturday game, by the way. It got flexed to a Saturday game. It's a 6 kickoff. That is a 1 o'clock Eastern game. If I was not doing something with family that day, I would have instantly have said to you, let's do a watch along for the Chargers game, because then at least then we'll have some fun. But I haven't got the time to do it. And I'm busy. So this Chargers game incoming, they've got a lot on the line as well. They have to win this game in order to clinch their playoff berth. Could the Patriots play spoiler maybe? Because the Chargers, defensively, they've been playing absolutely brilliantly. And then their last 2 or 3 games, their defense has sort of fallen off a cliff a little bit. But this is, they know they're going to run the ball down our throat. They've got Gus Edwards. They've got that Vidal kid who looks pretty promising as well. And also, we get to have PTSD thrown in our flipping faces because we have to face a second-round receiver who is balling out right now in the name of Lad McConkey.
Your guy.
My guy. My baller. Unfortunately, he's the Chargers baller, but you get what I mean. You get what I mean. There was a stat, I think McConkey had more yards in one particular game than Javon Baker and Jalen Polk had as in the entire season, which is frankly embarrassing. But that's, Justin Herbert's a gunslinger. You know what he is capable of. This defense of the Chargers is not to, you can't take them lightly at all. And also, they did have deficit coaching over the years. Now they actually have a coach who knows what the bloody hell he's doing in Jim Harbaugh. And, as a Michigan fan, it's great to see Harbaugh back in the NFL. It really is. But on this occasion, nope, not this time round.
Watching them against Denver this week, watching them on Thursday night? Friday night, Thursday night. Watching them against Denver this Thursday night. Watching them against Denver was just like, at one point, I thought, this is gonna go Denver's way. I think Denver, and the Chargers just, sort of like kicked it into another gear and just sort of ran over Denver when Denver thought they were in a position of sort of strength. But
yeah,
I think you need to be careful that, you don't get hung up on the run game because, like you said, with a cannon of an arm, if you try and sort of go all guns blazing to stop the run, which we can't do to start with, they're just going to break you. They're just going to break you over the top. So, I don't know. Do you continue to block the pass and defend the pass, make them run, and just try and hope that you can keep up with the point scoring? I don't know.
Who's Gonzo going to blanket in this game? Is it going to be Quentin Johnson or is it going to be McConkey? Because McConkey plays more in the slot.
I would think, based on his production, I would think they'll probably put him on McConkey. I would have thought. Because with Gonzalez's injury last year as well, he lost his rookie year. So it's almost as if it's rookie on rookie. He lost. What did he play last year? Was it 3 games, 4 games before? Before he picked up his injury. So, it's like rookie on rookie. And I think, with McConkey's production, I think you've got to sort of look at putting Gonzalez there.
Yeah, probably more than likely. But then you're leaving the likes of Josh Palmer and Quentin Johnson. If Quentin Johnson's got a case of the drops again, it's not the be-all and end-all. But, we're going to have to see. Right, what's your prediction for the Chargers game?
Competitive. I'm going to go with 27-20 to the Chargers.
27-20? I'm going to go 23-20. I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people. I think New England might cover the spread in this game. So
I've just got one of those. I've got it sort of like a garbage touchdown sort of thing. Like a mistake that the Patriots are pushing to try and get try and maybe win the game, and they don't do it, and then interception or whatever, and Watson just run up the other end and score. So I've got 27-20 was my initial gut feeling, so I'll stick with that.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with my feeling at 23-20. I think the Pats cover the spread on that game. It's still a loss, but a competitive one at that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Nick, thank you so much for joining. It's an early stream because obviously tomorrow's Christmas Eve. We're not doing the show on Christmas Eve. We could have done, but didn't really want to. So we did an early one. We'll be back again next week. Not sure when next week. I think it's next Tuesday, New Year's Eve.
Yes.
Right, so we're gonna have to do this next Monday then. We're gonna have to do this. So our next show is gonna be next Monday on the 30th. So make sure you go tune us up for the review of the Chargers game, and we'll have a bit of a preview as well on our second go around with the Buffalo Bills. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out. Gronk spike the subscribe button. Tell all your friends. Follow us on all our social media platforms, and follow the podcast on Spotify and on the Sports Social Network as well. That's it from us. The Patriots lose a highly competitive game to the Buffalo Bills. Shouldn't really be too disappointed, even though it's a loss. But hey ho, we move on to the Chargers coming Saturday. And from all of us here from the Patriots Touchback Podcast, a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Go Patriots.
Merry Christmas.